strawberry strawberry. All right, now I'm just going to. All right, y'all, we are going on the island of Grand Turks. This is where Lisa Ray from Players Club. I see him. Lisa Ray from Players Club. She was the first lady of this island. Her husband was the prime minister. Then his little butt got in trouble, got caught cheating on the girl. And then the girl divorced the man, and then I heard that he was cheating with the man. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on with this? Why do you marry a girl if you really like a boy? I'm just being silly, guys. But anyway, we're going into the duty-free station, and I got to buy some. And look at that, everybody is down on the beach. They're down in the water, and the stuff is so windy that it damn near tore the phone out my hand. Look at that. I love her color orange. That is so pretty. I love orange. Yes, I love orange.
Not there yet.
Store where you buy all the liquor, that 20% off. They got all kind of stuff in here. I gotta grab some souvenirs. Let's see where we going to. We're not standing in line because we're not buying any liquor because we don't want any. But we're going out here. We got all kind of little souvenirs in this joint. Oh, look at the purses. Yeah, we just gotta go out.
You have a lot of us with you guys. You have James, you have Raymond, and you have Shanae up top there. Please, guys, we're traveling together as a family. We're traveling as a team. Feel free to ask us any questions you like. Okay, guys? We're traveling as a family, as a team.
Real ones.
Awesome.
That's nice. We could have did that, yeah.
Okay, once again, welcome to the Turks and Caicos.
Right, so those are nice.
Grand Turk is the capital of the Turks and Caicos, one of 8 islands with 40 uninhabited keys, which have belonged to Great Britain from the 1700s.
Where did Lisa Ray live? Which island she lived on?
Lisa Ray used to live in Providencial. It's the main resort island.
Oh, the main resort?
Yeah. Now, Grand Turk became the capital way back in the 1700s. These islands belonged to Great Britain, and they belonged to Great Britain from the 1700s. Now, there were 3 islands that produced sea salt commercially. Grand Turk produced the most sea salt, and for that reason, they made it the capital. So historically, it is the capital of the Turks and Caicos today. As you can see, though, we drive on the left side of the road. Down here, we say the left side is the right side, and the right side is suicide. So we stay to the left. indigenous people for the Turks and Caicos Islands were Taino Indians. They occupied during the 1100s. They came directly from South America. 1492, Christopher Columbus made landfall, claimed these islands for Spain. The Turks and Caicos Islands are very close proximity to some of the bigger Caribbean islands, and for that reason, during the Cold War, the United States government selected this island in agreement with Great Britain to put an Air Force base and a Navy base on it. So for 30 years, these bases were here, tracking missiles and tracking submarines and warships. This area that we're entering into was formerly a U.S. Air Force base, one of 18 around the world that tracked missiles during the race of space. It was decommissioned around the 1980s.
They need to clean the windows on these buses.
Now coming up to the right, we call Fire Hill. It's home to our power company. It used to be the site of a French fort in the 1700s. You look to the right on top of the hill, you see an old cannon, and that came off one of those old-time wooden ships. Now these islands typically are very hot and dry, ideal for making sea salt, but not too good for agriculture. We do import most everything. Our food supply, building materials, automobiles, gasoline and diesel come directly from Miami and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Every week we'll see a cargo ship comes right over here to the left, which is the customs and duties area. That's where they offload. Now you can catch a glimpse of our flag. You see the blue flag with the British emblem in the corner. Okay, that is the flag of the Turks and Caicos.
Turks and
Ladies and gentlemen, over to the left is the governor's property. On the other side of this white wall, we call Waterloo, is where the governor resides. Now the governor is actually appointed by the King of England. We do not elect the governor, and he or she will serve a 4-year term. Now if you look down the street to the left, you can see the governor's house at the very end, which was built in the 1800s. Now we do have elections. We have 2 political parties. We vote one in every 4th year of the month. Around March, February or March, we will have our elections. But take a look over here, folks. Donkeys. That's right. Donkeys were brought here back in the 1600s, and they used to pull a cart loaded with salt. Nowadays, they roam the island freely, so we like to say that they are free animals. Nobody owns the donkeys, and they are protected by the government.
She said deer.
It's called Palm Grove. As we move along, you'll see street signs, but there are no traffic signals. And on Grand Turk, there are no addresses. So you look at the homes, there's no numbers, no mailbox. Now, most everybody knows everyone down here. But if you was to ask a person for directions, they simply give you somebody's name, and you should know who that's at. We have a post office. You need your mail, you simply go to the post office to get your mail.
Look at their little houses. Look at the donkeys over there.
They all over here.
They all over
That's
the
right,
place.
folks. On Grand Turk, you look around, a jackass on every street corner.
We got them outside there.
There's a bunch of them over there, like
I
4 of them.
see. And then they got their little
Now, Grand Turk
cars.
is very quaint. You're not going to find anything commercialized, so there's no big department stores, no fast food, no pizza delivery. But we do have hotels, little restaurants and bars, little grocery stores. Grand Turk is world renowned for scuba diving. A big part of our tourist industry from the 1970s up until present day. People come down this way, they dive for wall. That's what we call it, wall diving. Now we get up on Front Street, I'm going to show you and explain to you the different colors in the ocean. It's Very beautiful ocean, very beautiful beaches around Grand Turk.
Is it expensive to live here?
Question, is it expensive to live on Grand Turk? Not really, ma'am. In fact, Grand Turk is very affordable. Unlike the main resort island, a lot of people actually come here, they visit, they love the island, they move down here, they build a house, and there's no property tax. There are no federal taxes.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Now, automobile insurance, $250 a year.
$250 a year.
That's right. I
Goodness
gotta be
gracious.
honest with you, the gas price, well, that's a little high. It's around $7.50 a gallon, okay?
Oh, wow.
Our main hardware store is over here to the left, the Do It Center. You look good? Yeah, man, clear. Clear seat. Here, put it in. Okay, folks, we're traveling along Pond Street. Now, as we move along, ladies and gentlemen, you look to the right, you will see the beginning of the main town, Salinas. And this is where they produce sea salt for hundreds of years. It would allow these ponds to fill. The ocean water would flow through some canals to fill these ponds. And once the ponds were filled, they would block it. That means the salt water cannot go anywhere but evaporate. In 12 weeks, you had a layer of salt. It would then rake up and prepare for shipping. The donkeys were used to tug the salt all the way to the Front Street area and load onto the tall ships. We have 6 little gas stations on the island. Again, as I mentioned, gasoline, diesel go for around $7.50 a gallon.
Liquor store.
You will see little liquor stores around the island as well. Now, we do have internet, cable TV, and cell phone service provided through Digicel and Flow. To the right is our Supreme Courthouse that serves all the Turks and Caicos. And we have one prison here on Grand Turk. Now, we do have a low crime rate, folks. You want to know the reason why? It's because most of us is cousins down here. The replica you're looking at, the windmill. Well, now we had numerous windmills in these ponds. Their function was to transfer the seawater from one area to the next. Over here to the right, you'll see the canals that would direct the seawater from the ocean to fill these sea ponds. All of that designed and engineered by Bermudians centuries ago. Now, if you look to the left, you're going to see a large telemetry dish. There was 2 of them on this island, or actually 4 of them here on this island, way back in the 60s and 70s. They were used for tracking missiles. That was part of the military. We have 2 Canadian banks, CIBC and Scotiabank. It's a little ironic, isn't it? Here it is. It's the British Overseas Territory. Our main currency that we use is American, and we got Canadian banks. You know, we got a saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It does work for us sometimes, but we have to deal with it.
So there's not many jobs over here?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Over here to the left is the NGS Francis building, our Parliament building. Yes, we do have jobs on the island. Our main industry is tourism. But there's lots of different fields you can do. You know, the government hires most of the people. Well, we do have lots of jobs. Now to the right, these are the main town salt ponds. You can look out there and see them. And to the left, coming up, is Her Majesty's old prison. That was built in 1830. Today, it is a tourist attraction. Now what we're going to do is make a left. We're going to go right up to the Front Street area and proceed down to the Marketplace area. Now folks, at the Marketplace area, we're going to spend around 20-25 minutes. You can get your food, bring it on board with you. Also, ice cold beer. If you want to bring that on board, that's fine too. Just keep this in mind though. We got no fast food service down here. So if you want some food, order first thing, okay? They're a little slow. Over here to the left, the landmark building is Victoria Public Library, built in the 1800s. All right, now here we are coming up to the Front Street area. Right on Front Street, guys. Now, all the beaches in the Turks and Caicos are public. There are no private beaches. The ocean water is typically very clear. With a mask of snorkel, you can count the grains of sand out there. But take a look. The main feature is where the green meets the blue. Do you see that? Now the dark blue is a 7,000-foot drop. The light green that meets it may be 100 feet. Well, this is where they do their wall diving. They call it wall diving. The dive boats will park right out there and put on their scuba gear and they'll dive the wall. For this reason, we are world renowned for scuba diving.
Out there in the blue is 7,000. That's crazy. And then the other part would be 100.
Now this first wharf is where they catch the ferry service going to Salt Key. The second wharf is the old salt wharf. Donkeys bring salt to this area to load onto the tall ships. And the two green buildings is the old customs house. Over to the right is Carnival's Welcome Center. Across the street, the Eunice Lodge is a very historical building. 1834, the Emancipation Proclamation was read off of that balcony, ending slavery in these islands.
Ending slavery.
Okay, folks, the little storefront to the right called Todd's was built in the 1880s. It is next to a salt warehouse they built in the 1700s. If you look carefully, you notice how some of the plaster is missing. Well, they built these buildings, the old ones, out of limestone block. Big limestone block, and they plaster over it. And that's how they built back in the 1800s. Okay, then coming up to the right is the lodge. This is the Freemasons Lodge that was built in 1855, okay? Still an active organization in these islands, Freemasons. All right, our museum is over 200 years old. The telephone booth in front came directly from London, England. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we just entered into the marketplace area. Starting from this point, you can see where they have food trucks, there's turkey trucks, big mums. Very nice store here to the right. Now we're going to move up a little bit further. We're going to park. And you can come back this way, folks. Over to the left, you got this lady selling the local ice cream.
Yeah.
Vendors selling t-shirts and souvenirs. What's that, Austin? Yeah. T-shirts, souvenirs, and some people actually sell the sea salt if you want some natural sea salt. I know people who sell it. Over here to the left and right, Barbie's Restaurant and some nice seafood. Again, folks, the food service is a little slow. When you come out this way, if you want food, order your food first thing, okay? They do take their time with it, but it's very delicious food. The restrooms, right here to the left, this yellow building is our public restroom, okay? Now, if you're looking for sea salt, you're going to check this man right here to the left. His name is Jose. You see him right there with two glasses up on his head?
You got 4 eyes.
He got 4 eyes. He's actually a wretched fellow. But he does sell sea salt. Okay. All right then. We're going to pull over, folks, and let you guys out for 20-25 minutes. Approaching the northern end of Grand Turk, these islands are in the southern part of the Bermuda Triangle. That's right, folks. You got a husband, wife, boyfriend. You know, some people do go missing in the Bermuda Triangle, you know. Okay, folks, now when you look out there, you see where the green meets the blue. About 6 miles out there, the ocean descends to a depth of 21,000 feet. Also, you see the white caps out there at the very end? That is actually the end of the third largest barrier reef in the world. It extends from the Bahamas Islands and it ends right here in front of Grand Turk. Now, in the winter time, from the month of January through March, you will see humpback whales passing around this island. They come down this way to have their young, and after a few months they will wait for those little calves to get strong enough to make the journey back up north again. So you will see them for 3 or 4 months around the Turks and Caicos. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you look straight in front, you'll see some uninhabited islands. As I mentioned, there are 40 uninhabited keys. You can visit them, anyone can visit them and enjoy the day. You can camp out on those islands. However, there's no development. The government strictly prohibits any development on these islands, which are meant for nature. So you go over there, you will see sea turtles. On some islands, you'll see iguanas and non-venomous snakes. Now, we don't have any venomous snakes. We don't have any dangerous reptiles, so there's no alligators and no crocodiles.
No, I don't feel like the air at all. It's so hot in here. Moving on up to the east side.
Yeah, we're moving on up to the north side.
Look, they're building a house over there, Daddy.
Awesome, guys. So sit back, guys, relax. Very calm, guys. Very peaceful island. Crime rate is very low.
Yeah.
You know, everybody on the island's families. A lot of family on the island. So, you know, it's a little small crime rate. You know, everybody's cousins. All right, guys. Lovely. So we're heading up to the north side.
Okay, folks, we're traveling along West Road. Over to the right, you can see some of the historical salt ponds with the stone trench out there. Over here to the right, or to the left actually, one of 6 little grocery stores on the island. We have one big one called IGA.
Where is that? Oh, it's out further.
Yeah. We said to the left.
Yeah, that's the left.
Yeah.
Oh, it must be coming up down there. They got some nice houses, and then they got some that just like little tin houses.
Need a lot of work.
Yeah.
Alright, see kids coming from school here.
Oh, the kids are
Okay,
coming
folks,
from
you can see
school.
some of our young students coming from school. They have to wear uniforms, mind you. The young ladies, they wear plaid pink and a white blouse, and the young boys, they wear khakis. Now that's primary students, mind you, primary school students. In the Turks and Caicos, we have a British educational system. On Grand Turk, there are 2 primary schools, a high school and a community college.
Yeah.
Children begin their education at the primary school level, where they will be for 6 years. Afterwards, they go to high school for 5 years. Now, the college, we do have a community college, which is a vocational school. It's optional, and the government does pay for that. In fact, the government pays for all the schooling.
Wow.
That's pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Kind of like Canada. Canada's like that too.
Now, we don't have any school buses down here, so either children will walk to school or their parents will pick them up. We have no school buses.
How is the crime?
How's the crime?
Not
As I
bad,
told you, it is. We really do have a low crime rate.
No,
And that's because most of us is cousins down
Because
here.
okay, but they do got a prison.
They do what?
I said, but y'all do got a prison.
Sometimes it's messy.
Yeah, I know. Everybody don't know how to behave. Oh, look at the kids over there playing. Look at them coming out of school. Look, this must be the school over there. They pointed to the bus. The babies. Look at them running.
Look at the little kids over there.
Yeah, that's a nice place right there.
One
It
of the
is
best I
Otis
done seen.
Linton Primary School. I just call it North School, you know, because we have one in the south that goes South School.
Is this somebody's private home right here?
Those are apartments.
Oh, apartment.
Privately owned. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Now, folks, in the Turks and Caicos, we have two hospitals, one on Grand Turk, the other one on the main resort island, Providenciales. So across the street, you can see the hospital. The healthcare is provided through Inner Health Canada. Residents contribute 6% of their gross income towards their healthcare. They pay for that every month. In fact, it comes directly out of their paycheck.
Yeah, I can.
Families with children contribute $10 per child every month for their healthcare. Now,
Wow.
senior citizens, I guess when they reach age 65, they request some help from the government for their health care. And the government will send a social worker to their home 5 days a week to take care of them. Now, there are times when the senior citizen becomes a little too old and feeble. Over here to the left is the health place called the Wellness Center. And that's where government will take care of them at the government expense.
Wow.
Where the dogs are.
There are lots of dogs on the island. Now the dogs, we call them pot cakes. Why is that? It's because they eat what is at the bottom of the pot. So what is ever left over goes to the dog.
Right.
The
Pot cakes.
Pot cakes. They eat whatever's at the bottom of the pot.
Huh.
I didn't say anything.
Yes, please. Don't block up progress. Okay, folks. Now you're looking at North Creek. This is all ocean water, goes directly out to sea. Now, it was Christopher Columbus who made mention of this body of water when he described this island. He said Grand Turk was a small bean pod-shaped island with a large body of water at the northern end. Okay?
Yeah. Here.
I know. It's awesome, isn't it? Takes a lot of stress out of it by those back wheels turning. Now, folks, we do have hurricanes, okay? Usually we'll see a major hurricane every 6 or 7 years. And right now we are in hurricane season.
Oh,
The month of
wow.
June through November is the time of hurricane season.
Oh, wow.
September, as they say, is a month to remember. That's about the hottest month out of the year. And if there's going to be a hurricane, it would definitely hit in September.
What's the highest temperature?
Well, now, I've experienced temperatures down here around 120 degrees. Thankfully, we do have a nice breeze passing overhead. You just have to find some shade. And amazingly, it does work. It just cools you right down. On top of that, you can have a Soon Reach along with that shade tree. Soon Reach means that's our local beer, okay? So that does help. Okay, folks. In the center of this circle is a memorial towards our first Chief Minister, James McCartney.
So they basically sustain themselves with tourism. The money that we spend with tourism. The money, I said they basically sustain themselves with the money they make from tourism. nice trinkets you could take home back to wherever you come from.
Again, folks, now when you look to your right, you're going to see a salt pond. You see how the salt just forms up
Oh, look
when
at
the
the
water
salt.
evaporates. All of that white stuff is salt. You can go out there with a rake. You can rake up some of that salt for yourself. I did it a couple weeks ago.
All right, stop the bus.
Now you want me to stop the police officer. Okay, folks, you just passed by the speed limit sign. 40 miles per hour outside the town limit. In town is 20. And we're headed up to the higher elevation on this island. Not by much, mind you, but a 36-foot cliff on the east side of Grand Turk. It is known as the Ridge. And once on top, you can see some very nice ocean view on both sides of the island. To the right, the east side of the island.
You right.
At the base of the cliff is a very nice beach for beach combing. And our local fishermen come out to do their fishing on the east side of Grand Turk. Now, over to the left, the area that is white is our limestone quarry. These islands are made of coral and limestone. Limestone was quite useful back in the 1800s. They used it for building churches and government buildings. With a large limestone block. Now today, we use it as a road base and also for making cement. So limestone is a very useful product. Now there are some fruit trees on the island. Right down there on West Road, there's a big ginnim tree. And I've seen people selling ginnims. Over there to the right though, on top of the ridge, you have sea grapes. Now sea grapes, although they are small, when they ripen up, they plump out, they turn purple. And they're sweet. We also have tamarind trees and coconut trees on the island. See the little donkeys, guys? You're going to see some baby donkeys, and they're very cute. I jokingly tell people that the bigger donkey is not a donkey. A donkey is that little baby donkey because that's the best time of his life. But when they grow up, they don't act too good anymore, so we call them jackasses. Now folks, over to the left, 22 miles away is South Caicos. South Caicos, they have commercialized fishing around it. And then the two largest islands are East and Middle Caicos, mostly uninhabited. Middle Caicos has a small community. Beyond that is North Caicos, which is our agricultural island, and then Providenciales, the main resort island. Providenciales is 3 times the size of Grand Turk, and it is the most populated. They receive all of the international flights directly from the US, Canada, and the UK. Now Providenciales, a very exclusive, well-developed island with fine luxurious hotels and condominiums. On Grace Bay are all-inclusive resorts like beaches, sandals, and Club Med. They also have a professional golf course. Beyond Providenciales is a little island of West Caicos, which is uninhabited. West Caicos is right next to the Molasses Reef, on which they have found one of Christopher Columbus's ships called the Pinta.
Donkeys attack people?
The donkeys?
Yes.
Well, I tell you what, donkeys usually are very docile and they're easy to approach. They'll actually approach you. But one thing I've found that donkeys don't like is when you tease the donkey. If you're going to feed the donkey, feed the donkey. Some people hold on to the food, walk away, the donkey will turn around and nip them, go right behind them and nip them. So you don't want to tease a donkey, okay?
All right.
Okay, now directly in front, folks, is our community college, a 2-year vocational school. However, it was a secret military base back in the 50s. It was a U.S. Navy base that tracked submarines, okay? A submarine tracking station. It was here during the Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962.
Community college.
Okay, now, you look over to the right, you can see some of our 4-legged students over there. You see them? We call them smartasses, folks. They are working on that 2-year degree in Jackass. Now, directly in front is the Grand Turk Lighthouse. When the cruise ships are not here, it is actually the highest elevation on Grand Turk. Now, it is actually the oldest lighthouse in the Western Hemisphere. It was installed back in 1852, built in London, England, made of cast iron. I see it. Good over there.
You couldn't drive this bus.
I think it bottomed out. Now the Grand Turk Lighthouse, unlike in yesteryear, has no lighthouse keeper. It turns on and off automatically. Back in the day when we had lighthouse keepers, well, the lighthouse keeper would have to tend the light. It would place a lamp filled with kerosene in the midst of a carved glass they call a prism, which would cast that light for many miles. Back in the 1800s, when they built the lighthouse, that prism itself cost $1 million to make.
Wow.
It is in our museum today. So today, the lighthouse is electric, and it turns on and off automatically by itself.
Wow.
Like a clap on and clap on.
Greetings from Grand Turks.
He's just looking too.
Okay, folks. Now over to the right was U.S. Navy. Back in the day, when they built this Navy base, they had placed listen devices out at sea for many miles, which would detect whatever ship or submarine was passing around the island. All of that sound collected would be delivered to this odd-looking building to the right, which was top secret. Inside that building, they would decipher that sound. They could tell you exactly what it was, and then relay the information to the U.S. mainland, okay? So Grand Turk was kept secret, you know, and that's because of the military. Nobody heard about these Turks and Caicos Islands for a long time, even up into the late 80s and 90s. You wouldn't hear much even about these islands on the news. Maybe a little something if hurricanes were passing through, but that's it. Nowadays, well, since the main resort island got developed, of course you hear about us all the time. So the U.S. Navy has been gone from that time, and so is the U.S. Air Force from the 1980s. Okay, now it's peaceful and serene and quiet. It's uncanny. Now there's one particular man that I like to talk about in regards to Sulky, because you wouldn't have thought. But his name was Jimmy Buffett. Now when Jimmy Buffett was growing up, he was just a young man. He would travel with his grandfather aboard their schooner to get sea salt. And they come right down here to the Turks and Caicos, over there at Sulky, to get their load of sea salt. A lot of his years was spent sailing with his grandfather. Now, when he became older, of course, he became a singer and songwriter, and he came back to the Turks and Caicos. In fact, he used to hang out in a little restaurant bar and inn called the Salt Rinker Inn back in the 70s. You'd see him there all the time. So this was actually his second home, aside from where he used to live up there in the States, right? Everybody said he was a Key West man, so. But his second home right here in the Turks and Caicos.
Those are horses. Oh, look, those are wild horses.
actually owned by people, although they do roam the island freely, just like the donkeys. But they are owned by people. Donkeys, nobody owns them. There are actually around 300 plus donkeys roaming around this island. Now folks, I mentioned to you that the beach over to the left this time is at the base of the cliff, 36 feet down. You have a very nice beach, which is good for beach combing. Now typically you will find these flotation devices. You look along that fence right there to the left, that's what you normally find on the beach. But you know what, every once in a while though, you'll see some of the local fellas going down there before the sun's coming up, I mean real early, and you say, this is odd. But most people know it is because sometimes the cartels will lose a shipment. That's right, folks. Sometimes it does snow in the Turks and Caicos. We don't call it snow, we call it blow. Okay, as we move a little further out, you look to the left, you can see the islands a little bit clearer. That first island, we call Gibbs Key, is also known as Stingray Island. Well, they do have tours over there to Stingray Island. The stingrays come right up to you, and you can handle them. You can actually feed the stingray and herd them if you wanted to, if you're brave enough. You know, some people do it.
Y'all have different places where people that's well off and people that's poorer stay?
Oh, of course, man. We do have areas like here on the ridge. You'll find some very beautiful homes up there. The first two homes after we left the lighthouse was well over a couple $1 billion, you know.
Oh, wow.
I'll tell you a little story about one. One of those houses belonged to a fellow named Carlos. Now, one time he was not getting along with the missus and he wanted to separate, get a divorce. But she did not want to leave. She stayed in the house. In fact, he was so desperate one time he listed the house for sale with his wife in it.
Oh, wow.
Well, you know how that worked out. She didn't leave anyway. Figured it's best to cheaper this to keep everything and they'll get along. So there was no divorce that went through. Now, yes, we do have those shacks on the island. You'll find people from other countries and like Dominican Republic and Haiti. And these people, they live sometimes in shacks, okay? It is illegal, but, you know, people allow them to build on their property. But typically, though, homes and apartments are built according to hurricane code, okay? Made out of concrete block, rebar. They do have a foundation. But no basements. We don't have basements here. No attic space, really. No attics. But it's all built to hurricane code. Now you'll also find some properties that have been, well, damaged by hurricane. They just abandoned the property. They didn't keep up with their insurance. But when you have a mortgage, you must have homeowner's insurance. Some homes, you can see, over here, there's an unfinished building. Some people will build out of pocket. They don't want to borrow money from the bank. So it takes a little while, and eventually they will get it built. Okay, once again, the statue is of James McCartney, our first chief minister. Okay, we're moving on now. didn't see flamingos out here.
Is that? They come on here now.
Yesterday, I seen lots right on here. We're gonna find out.
That's your dog.
Okay, folks,
Need
now
a
coming
brown
up to the
one.
left
Right there.
are the main town salinas where they produce sea salt for hundreds of years, okay? It actually began in 1678. The Bermudians were here, they started the salt industry. Back in those days, sea salt was used to preserve food. There was no refrigeration. Now you can imagine the sailors in those tall wooden boats when they came out. They went out ship. They went out sailing. They were going for months and months and months. They used to load up their beef, their pork, their fish
A dog, yeah.
into barrels of sea salt, which would preserve the food. And I tell you what, in our grocery stores today, you go and look for some codfish. You find it right there, unrefrigerated on the shelf, packed away in sea salt. You take that home, you wash off the sea salt, and the fish is just fresh, perfectly fine for consumption. In fact, codfish is really a delicacy. People love it down here. I had some this morning, by the way. It was quite nice. It's actually very healthy for you, too. I look and I don't see no flamingos. But yesterday, I see them right out there. Yep.
They got the food market.
Okay, once again, a little grocery store to the left. We have 6 of them. Over there in the pond, you'll see some posts sticking up out of the water. That used to be a windmill at one time. The windmills were used for transferring seawater from one area to the next. Now over here to the right, folks, is Grand Turks Police Department, which actually has a little bar they call the Cantina, which means you can get drunk at the police station. Okay? Imagine that. I'm going to give that a try one day. All right, this here is a clock tower park, and we're coming back again to Coburn Town. Now, Coburn Town is named after a British admiral who lived in the 1700s. Coburn, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, folks, now we're going to go up on Church Folly and head on down to East Tar Road. You see a very old church showing the cemetery. Look out there, you can see the stone trench that was put in place centuries ago. Very little has changed. Over to the right is Graceway, also known as IGA. It's the largest grocery store on the island. Over to the left are government offices or ministries. Now the government is actually the biggest employer. Although we do have construction workers, auto mechanics, air conditioning, refrigeration, so different career fields. Over here to the right is our National Insurance building. National Insurance is very similar to Social Security. So that's the other thing they take out of your paycheck. Just 2 things. One for the health, the other one for your retirement. They don't take out any federal tax out of your paycheck. I know you won't cross the road. I know you won't cross. That's right. You wouldn't have to. Okay, over here to the left is Peaches, a little restaurant.
Now they're gonna look at their police cars.
But our food is very
Yeah, I
tasty.
see it.
Let me tell you, Thursday, that's when they have curry chicken, stew beans, white rice, fried plantain, and some coleslaw or mac on the side, mac and cheese. Boy, let me tell you, I gotta have some of that sometimes. I just gotta have some curry.
Can you turn on the air?
Can we turn on the air? You're not feeling nothing?
No.
Let me get my my engineer here and see if he can figure this one out, okay? I'm gonna keep on steering and put my foot on the pedal. Okay, folks, over to the left. The oldest church on Grand Turk is called St. Thomas Parish Church. It is Anglican, and it was built in 1823. The church itself made out of limestone. The walls are about 3 feet thick. Over here to the right, H.A. Robinson High School. Now I'm going to show you something, folks. I'll explain to you. When you look over the wall, you'll notice how the tombstones, the tombs of graves are raised, okay? It is actually a concrete vault that goes down about 9 feet. And they will bury 3 coffins, one on top of the other, okay? So it is a family plot, right?
That's what Lloyd them do. And they build their
Okay,
own
we'll get a
too.
little
Look how nice
something
it
doing in
is.
here to work a
The
little bit
pictures
better
on
for you.
them. See the pictures on them?
Virgin Islands, yeah, I don't like looking at
Okay, folks. Now we're
Yeah,
going to
look.
continue on East Star Road. We're going to make our way down to
They said it's not.
the Grand
I know,
Turk
I know
side.
it's
That's
not.
where we go for a little photo op. Over here to the left is our public cemetery. So not everyone belongs to a church. The cemeteries of the church, that's there for the people who attend regularly. For those who don't attend church, they bury them right out there. I'll let Troy explain that to you so I can turn him over to you for a little while.
Alright guys, so we call over there on the Ground Hotel. Alright, people are going to get over there. Alright, so we're heading down now guys to the Grand Turk sign. And after that we head back down to the port. Alright, so we have around 10-15 more minutes more. Alright guys. Now here in Grand Turk guys, we don't have a specified color to paint your house. You can paint your house in whichever color you like. Alright. On the island here, we have 7 gas stations on the island. A gallon of gas is $7.50. So no property tax, no income tax, no sales tax, but minimum wage is $8 an hour. A loaf of bread here is $4.79. Awesome.
Don't ask about the price for eggs.
Oh, yeah. Well, you might as well tell us. How much are they?
We have $18 for the dozen.
Oh, my God.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I got 11 chickens, and I'm going to get them free.
Alright, what happened? We see a spike in eggs since the last 3 months now. What water leakage up ahead?
$12 for a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
With
A
12?
gallon of
That,
milk.
what?
Yes, ma'am, a gallon of milk. The cheapest one is 12.
Dang.
Alright, guys. Over here to your right is one of our church. We have 16 churches on the island. 16 churches. That's our Roman Catholic church here to your right. And we're getting ready for our left turn up ahead. Now when we made the left turn to your left here, we have Lester Williams Park, where we have our Christmas celebration. In the middle, where you see the concrete pavement, we put our Christmas tree there by an Amazon, and we have a Christmas party. Alright, over here to your left too is Ministry of Border Patrol and Labor Clearance, there's immigration there. Kitty's Pizza, little pizza place there. A slice of pizza is $5.75.
Damn. That's almost an hour's
Awesome, guys. So
way.
we're still
get a
driving
whole
along.
piece of
Over here to your left is another church.
Domino's, ain't it?
Foundation Ministries.
Yeah.
or Little Caesars.
Straight in the street here we see those donkeys are. We have another church down there. House of Bethel. So 16 churches here on the island. Awesome. So we are back in our first community here again. The community is called Palm Grove. You're here in the Palm Grove community, guys. House here in Palm Grove ranges from 250,000 US up to millions, depending on your taste and depending on your style.
Dang, them no houses.
Alright, no property tax with your house. Now you must wonder how the government makes revenue. Now most of the government revenue is through import duties, because everything that is imported, the government have duties on it. Duties here start at 35%. So on vehicles, 35%, and electronics is 38% duties, or some call it tariff.
Yeah, tariffs.
Alright, over here to your left is the runway for the airport again. The runway is 6,351 feet long. The runway itself is almost as wide as Grand Turk. Alright, so right over this hill area is the beach, and at the other end of the runway is the beach as well. So we're coming on up now to the Grand Turk sign. Now on the sign, guys, each colors you see on each of these letters, each colors represent something here in the Turks and Caicos. These are our national colors. Like the two red is for Grand Turk. Grand Turk is the capital of the Turks and Caicos, so we have two red to represent Grand Turk. The white is for South Key. The amber is for South Caicos. The tan is for Middle Caicos. The green is for North Caicos. The blue is for Provo. The yellow is for the sunshine we have. And the pink is for the pink flamingos. And in the middle is our national plant, the Turk head cactus. Alright guys? And that's how we get the name Turks and Caicos. So Turk came from that cactus, and Caicos means strings of islands or series of islands. Now native guys, here in the Turks and Caicos, natives are called a Turks and Caicos Islander. Not Turkish guys, we have nothing to do with Turkey, we only eat turkey in Thanksgiving. So Turks and Caicos Islander. So guys, if you want to take a photo at our Grand Turk sign, you can make your way out and we take a lovely photo for you guys. If anybody wants. Everybody seated?
Okay, is everybody seated?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now folks, I grew up in the Turks and Caicos. I came here when I was 8 years old. And I lived here most of my life, okay? So back in the day, you know, every once in a while, we would get a soda pop. That's right, nice little treat. And I would put my soda up in the fridge, wait till it's nice and frosty. And I would enjoy it. But I was getting a little bit frustrated because when I come around to look for my soda pop, it was gone. And this happened on more than one occasion. Well, then finally I saw the culprit. My younger brother right there in the fridge, guzzling on my soda. So he saw me coming, and he hurried up and finished off the rest. And I said to him, I said, how come? You had yours, you know. Well, he said he was thirsty. I see. Well, the next time around, I drank my ginger ale down warm, folks. And of course, I had the bright idea. I said, I guess I'm going to fix it now. So I go ahead and I pee in that can and wipe it back in the fridge for it. And lo and behold, he did have some of that.
Oh my God.
Well, it's a good thing too that I was bigger than him and older than he was, because he didn't really want to get into with him. It brought me some pleasure.
He done peed in the ginger ale. That's funny.
It's one of those things. So.
Yes, it is. Oh my God. Did you get a whooping at your parents?
Well, here it is. After that incident, nobody trusted any open container back in the fridge. It just seemed to like catch on, and I don't know, man. I said, okay. And they got uncorrupted the rest.
It's funny.
You know, my parents, you know, eventually they caught on to it. They said, stop it, don't do it.
Yeah.
So I have 4 brothers, okay? And we all grew up here in these islands. We all still live here in these islands too. So we lived in Miami for a while, but we all came back. And this is what we do.
That's good.
I have 2 brothers who live in the main resort island, Providenciales. So anyway, it's all good. Okay, folks, in just a few more minutes, we're going to be back at the cruise center. And I do hope that you have enjoyed this little tour of the island. It's a pleasure to show you around. I'm going to turn you back over to 006.5, James Bond.
Alright guys, so we're chicken crossing road up ahead there.
Little chicken.
Look at the chicken.
Yes, in there, man.
I see him. Look at him.
See right across, some free
Yeah,
eggs.
crossing there.
Yes, ma'am, some free eggs, you know.
Yeah, I see.
Alright guys, so we're heading back to base, back to the Grand Turk port. And guys, no matter where you go from today, just remember you have some families here in Grand Turk. So once you enter the bus, guys, we are family. So if anybody...
He stopped right there, ain't he?
Yeah, he just sitting
He
there, just standing there.
standing there.
That's what donkeys do.
That's a
why
donkey
they call,
just standing
they
there.
call them jackasses. They do dumb shit.
That's why he said when they little, they
They good,
they
but when
donkeys, but when they get big, they jackasses.
jackasses.
Well, we have Columbus. This was one of the islands that he found when he came to America, and then this is part of the British.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Part of the British. And they said they saw it was worth more than gold. So it's called white gold. But anyway, y'all, that's it. We're taking off. Let me hold on close to my phone. Because I can't have my phone fall in this water. I'm done. I'm done for. Look at that. Look at the water down there. Yeah, people out here. Everybody's on the balcony looking out. Okay, goodbye, beautiful Grand Turks. It was so nice that y'all hospitality y'all have here. It was very lovely seeing all y'all little donkeys and y'all horses, y'all jackasses and y'all donkeys and y'all horses. Badass little things. That's the island. We got a lot of history about them. Christopher Columbus.
Three of them. Three of them.
Where they at? I can't see them.
They'll one that jump, one with behind the plane. No.
Trying to find the donkeys.
They over there. See that white
White car, yeah. See the man walking over there. But where the hell they went to?
Not the white car, Captain, the white house, the white thing.
Oh, I see them over there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they done moved now. I can't see
Yeah,
them.
one behind it.
Yeah, they went behind it.
One looking in front of it.
And I can't see the ones
I'm in
that's
front
in
of
front
that
of
tree.
it. My camera looks blurry.
The only thing we did is went over there.
Yeah, we
That's
went
the
in
soft
we
water.
went in town.
Mm-hmm.
We went into town. That's what we did.